Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official college football top 10 best bets here for week number 6, where I go over some of my favorite bets. Starting with number 10, it is Syracuse at North Carolina. You know, we've expected North Carolina to come down to earth. It hasn't happened yet. This number is pretty crazy to me, though, plus the 9. I wonder, I think it's gone down to 8.5, but still, guys, I like Syracuse to win this game outright, even if they don't. 9 is a pretty crazy number considering how good Syracuse has been this season. Yes, they lost to Clemson. Yes, I expected them to lose to Clemson. I understand North Carolina coming off a bye, but I still don't buy North Carolina being ranked at number 14. This game's at 3:30. I would expect it to be very close at the end. You can see North Carolina 61% chance to win. That equates to about a 5-point spread. So this number is cooked up a little bit. And you can say, well, the analytics are a little bit wonky on Syracuse this year because they've blown out a bunch of bottom feeders. And I would agree with you, but still Syracuse is a veteran quarterback. He's a dual threat. And I don't think North Carolina is this crazy talented team outside of Drake May. And even Drake May has been prone to a few turnovers here and there. This should be a relatively close game. At number 9, we're going with Maryland at Ohio State. The Buckeyes coming in at number 4. I'm going with the over 55. So Ohio State this year, 1-3. You know, if you bet the over, you'd be 1-3. So a lot of their games going under. The Notre Dame game, very low scoring. The Indiana game, extremely low scoring. This is a game I expect there to be more points in. Ohio State coming off the bye. Maryland will score. They've got Tagovailoa. He's a good quarterback. I would say the best quarterback in their history, I guess. Yes, and this is a huge game for Maryland. It's unfortunate they weren't able to get ranked before it because it would probably get more juice. They were the first team out, so they would be the number 26 team ranked, or they were the first team receiving votes, whatever you want to say. But yeah, I do like the over. Just the law of averages. Ohio State, you can say, well, this year they're different. They're defensive-minded. They're more of a gritty team. I don't know, man. You've got Ibuka, Marvin Harrison Jr. You've got Maryland, who loves to sling the football. They don't have a particularly good defense. I see a lot of points getting scored in this game, and just based off the law of averages, I'll take the over 55. Moving on to number 8, it is the Red River rivalry. It's tough to say that. It is kind of hard to pronounce it, but it is Oklahoma, Texas, the neutral site, 11 a.m. Central game. So there's two bets that I like in this. I do like Oklahoma plus the 6.5. There's great value on that. This is another team where you can say the analytics are really wonky on Oklahoma because they've blown out a bunch of bad teams, but they're legit. They are good. Texas, on the other hand, you can see I do have them winning this game by 3. I think Texas runs the ball a lot better than Oklahoma. Oklahoma, a little bit better defense, but this is going to be a higher scoring game, and give me Oklahoma plus the 6.5. Also give me the over. I looked it up. 60.5 is the number. I'll take the over on that. This game always seems to be high scoring, so we'll go in that direction. At number 7, it is Kentucky traveling to Georgia. Georgia right now sitting 0-5 against the spread. They're facing a team that really should not be ranked. I mean, maybe number 24, number 25 is a courtesy, but Kentucky, their big win over Florida, I really don't view that in an extremely positive light because I don't think Florida's very good. You've got Georgia. I like them to finally cover a spread and win this game easily. Say what you want about their game against Auburn. They did show some things. They did grow with Brock Bowers finally having a breakout game. Carson Beck dealing with some adversity, but at some point you would think Georgia would just wake up, and especially against a team like Kentucky. Nobody was talking about Kentucky coming into this season. I understand you can say, well, they've got Devin Leary. He's a decent dual threat QB transfer from NC State, and I would agree with it. But just in terms of their schedule and the way it's set up, it's completely ridiculous facing those 3 horrifically bad teams, and then you get a Florida team who's super inflated at home. It was just a perfect scenario for Kentucky to be ranked at this point in the season. So I think Georgia wins this game big at home. They get that momentum from the Auburn game. and it ends up being a blowout. At number 6, it is Fresno State traveling to Wyoming. Pretty crazy spread when you look at this. I'll take Wyoming plus the 6.5 for sure. Even the ESPN FPI only gives Fresno State a 61% chance. It's not like they love Fresno in this game. So I do like Wyoming to win this game outright. Wyoming is a very annoying place to play. We saw back in week 1, Texas Tech lose to Wyoming, and I know people say, well, Texas Tech is terrible. Guys, Texas Tech the next week probably should have beaten Oregon at home. So I'm not going to say Texas Tech is this great team, but they have upside, and Wyoming beat them at home in double overtime. It's a tough place to play. It's a very brutal place to play. They're going to be up for this game. They're going to have a raucous environment. And you've got a Fresno State team. They are ranked. It's going to add to it. I will take Wyoming to win this game outright by 3 points. The number 5 best bet, it is Colorado sitting -4 at Arizona State. So yes, a lot of analytical models love Colorado, and I would agree with them. Colorado has significant offensive upside. The one thing with Colorado that is something to take into consideration, this is going to be Arizona State's Super Bowl. They're getting Deion Sanders. Is this game on the Pac-12 network? It actually might be. So that's kind of an interesting wrinkle. This game really won't be watched if it is. But yeah, dude, I like Colorado -4 to win this game by at least a touchdown against an Arizona State team who's really defeated. Their young, true freshman quarterback is already out for the year, and I'll go with Colorado to right the ship. Really, last week, if you bet on Colorado, you would have won easily, although it was kind of a crazy game against USC. They were getting crushed. They were sitting like plus 21, and then they ended up covering by scoring late, but the offensive upside of Colorado should be enough here. And then Arizona State, you could certainly argue Colorado has a horrible defense, and I wouldn't disagree, but it's not like Arizona State has any world beaters on the offensive side of the ball. So I'll go with Colorado to cover. Kind of a lower spread there, -4. The number 4 best bet, it is Notre Dame traveling to Louisville. Another raucous environment. Let's take advantage of the home underdogs, just like the Wyoming game, plus 6.5. Guys, Louisville this week plus the 6.5. Guys, remember last week I was in on Notre Dame as a road favorite over Duke minus the 5.5, and I got lucky. This week we've got to fade Notre Dame on the road. It's Louisville. It's a raucous environment. It is a relatively big stadium. Louisville undefeated, ranks number 25. This is the ABC game. I think Notre Dame can hold serve. They've shown me something in close games. They had the tough loss to Ohio State, but they did a really good job there early in the fourth quarter with a very elongated drive. And then obviously this past week, them being able to score the touchdown, the 4th and 19 conversion. I think Notre Dame can eke out a victory, but they might lose this game outright. I love Louisville plus the 6.5. Considering Notre Dame and the gauntlet that they've been through already, the 2 tough games, this is just another one. 3 tough games in a row for them. I will go ahead and take Louisville on the value. The number 3 best bet, it is Bama traveling to Texas A&M, and I do like Alabama, believe it or not, minus the 2.5. I know the whole Kyle Field thing. We know what happened 2 years ago, the crazy upset, storming the field, but Alabama, the defense and running, right now, I think Nick Saban is enjoying the spot that Alabama is in, to where they're really not talked about a lot. They're kind of flying under the radar. They face Mississippi State. They beat them by 23 points. They cover a 14-point spread. They really didn't outgain Mississippi State by a lot, but it's just the Alabama team, they're so talented. And you can say the same thing about Texas A&M for sure, but I still can't buy Max Johnson, the QB. I don't trust him yet, especially against a crazy defensive front with Dallas Turner, with Chris Braswell, and then you've got Alabama. They're running the ball. They've got 2 solid running backs, and then, of course, Jalen Milroe, who really is only either going to run it or throw deep passes or maybe short passes, not much intermediate. That's kind of Alabama's identity, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. So this is a 3:38 CBS game, and I'll take Bama to win it by a touchdown and cover the 2.5. Moving on to number 2, it is Rutgers at Wisconsin. So this is a noon game, 11 a.m. Central, Peacock, streaming only. The Grand Slam, OMG. This is so obvious, the under 45, and every analytical model agrees with me. I don't know if Wisconsin will cover the 14 or not, but Rutgers is a team. They're not explosive. Wisconsin is not explosive. Again, streaming only. 11 o'clock a.m. This game's got 7-0 at halftime written all over it, folks. Very slow start. We love the under in that one. And then moving on to number 1, it is the nightcap, the night owl. It is Oregon State traveling to California, and you just know with the Pac-12 games, this is a Californian team. They can play hard. They're at home. Watch out. California plus the 9. I don't know if they win this game outright, but 9 points is too much against a Cal team that can run the ball and run it well against an Oregon State team who really has shown some weakness on the offensive side of the ball. And I was in on Oregon State last week in their Friday night win over Utah. I said take them minus the 3. They'll easily win, and they did. But still, DJ Uiagalelei, the last 2 weeks, it's been a little disappointing on offense. Cal can run the ball. They're at home. It's late night. That's where weird things happen. We like California to cover this spread. And then I do have a few bonus ones. This is supposed to be for week 6. I forgot to edit that. North Texas, I think they win outright at Navy. They're certainly a weird team, but I always seem to like North Texas. I don't know, and the analytics love North Texas to not only cover the 6, but win that game outright. UCLA, this probably should have been one of my best bets, but it's just 3.5 is an annoying number. So I'll take UCLA to beat Washington State by over 3.5. But again, I wish it was minus 3 or minus 2.5. Either way, Washington State is due for a loss. UCLA coming off a bye after the bad loss to Utah. They're at home. It's at the Rose Bowl. They're going to cover that 3.5 point spread. Kansas State at Oklahoma State, the under 54.5. It's just too many points. It's too many points. Kansas State, you can say they have a decent offense, but they're going on the road, and Oklahoma State is a super boring team. This is a lower scoring game. I think Kansas State wins it, maybe like 31-18 or something, and the total falls under 50. And then we do have Toledo, UMass. We're going in on Toledo minus the 19. Is UMass the worst team in college football again? Maybe they are. But Toledo had a disappointing effort last week. I think they make up for it and crush UMass easily. But guys, that is going to do it for my official college football top 10 best bets here for week number 6. Make sure you're following me on X. Link to that's always in the description.